George W. Bush had made many slips during his speeches.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we. But I'm the decider, and I decide what is best. I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully. I hear there's rumors on the internets.
And this might be the biggest so far.
And the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway.
And here's why it's not funny. In 2003, George Bush wanted to invade Iraq and said,
"The founding members resolved that the peace of the world must never again be destroyed by the will and wickedness of any man."
During this war, Iraqi civilians were often target of violence, bombings, and deaths. It led to nearly 500,000 deaths and internally displaced 2.8 million people. George Bush and Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of the UK, were working together. And here is the proof. He wanted to work with us through the issues together. Whatever plan emerged, we had to ensure victory. We could not afford to fail. And he didn't know who would take Saddam's place if and when we toppled him. But he didn't much care. He was working on the assumption that anyone would be an improvement.
When are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead.
You killed 1 million people in Iraq.
This war also resulted in no weapons of mass destruction being found. Former US President George W. Bush says he still feels sick when he thinks about Iraq and the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction. The US invasion of Iraq led to the rise of IS armed group. Iraqis are still suffering from the consequences of this war. Back to the latest Bush blunder.
And brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
The war in Iraq was a big fat mistake, all right?
Here is how some people reacted. Andrew Stroline from Human Rights Watch said it was the Freudian slip of the century. Comedian John Fugelsang called it a Freudian confession. And Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator, said Bush admitted to being a war criminal and found it funny.
Fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Do you think that George W. Bush and other parties involved should be punished?